Hi everyone, it's Koki. This is kind of a random video because I usually don't post about books and stuff on here, but I want my channel to be more than just anime and panels and cosplaying and stuff like that. So I know no one's probably gonna care and no one's probably gonna watch this, but I don't care. I want to talk about the books that I read this year, and I want to be able to hate on books that I didn't like and gush about books that I loved. Okay, I just want to have the freedom to do that. So I'm talking about today. I'm going to recap all the books I read this year. I have read, I believe, 27 books this year, which might not seem like a lot for some people, but for me it is a lot because I am a very slow reader at times, and I haven't gotten big into reading in a very long time, to be honest. I think the last time I was a big reader was back in middle school, and back like I believe like in middle school, like 7th to 8th grade, I was like big-ish on reading, and then I like took a humongous like break and everything from reading, and like I took like forever to finish books I was reading in freshman year of high school, things like that. But now I've been trying more to become a more avid reader, and I read 27 books this year, which I'm proud of myself for doing that. My goal was 20 and read 27, so you know what? I'm proud of myself, okay? Now I'm going to go into the books, and this is all going to be in chronological order when I finish these books. So yeah. So the first book I read this year was a little lesbian romance, and to tell you the truth, okay, you know what, let me just tell you what the book is first before I talk about it. So the book I read was Written in the Stars by, what's the author's name? Alexandria Bellafleur? I probably butchered the name, I'm so sorry. Bellafleur, I'm not gonna try, but okay. But yeah, it was Written in Stars, right here. It's a little lesbian romance book, as you can see down here on the cover. The cover is very pretty, very cute. I love the cover, honestly. And that's what made me pick it up, also because of the cover. I didn't really read too much of the back, except that I was like, oh, this is a cute like little like gay romance. Me like a gay romance, so I will read this. Like the year before this, I read like a lot of gay romance books, so I was like, okay. So I was like hooked on gay romance books, so I was like, okay, I'll pick one up, see what I think about it. And the writing is a bit cringy at times. Actually, not at times. Throughout the majority of the book, this writing was cringy, and I was like, okay, this writing is weird, but I'll just roll with it, it's fine. And then, without warning, I got to a smut scene in the book, and honestly, I'm not, okay, the thing is, when people would be like, seriously, you're pathetic, you stopped reading after you read a smut scene? Yes, I did. I stopped reading this book after the smut scene. I could not stomach it. The smut scene utterly disgusted me, and yeah. Like, I've read smut before, but not intentionally. I don't like reading smut. I'm a girl who does not like reading it at all, in any way, shape, or form. No thank you. It wasn't just that, I also could tell it was badly written, even though I don't read smut often. I know it was badly written. Like, after that one smut scene, I stopped reading. So I was like, if there's more than this, there's more than one of these smut scenes, no, I'm stopping right here, because I could not care anymore at all. Like, it was supposed to become like a fake dating sort of thing, which I'm not big on the fake dating trope, but I can get past it if it's like cute. And they moved on to like actually being in love, I feel like a little bit too fast. And yeah, I don't know, I just didn't like it, and the writing style just made me just cringe multiple times throughout my experience. So yeah, not like great off to the year, but yeah, I think I ended up giving this one maybe 2 or 3 stars, I want to say, on Goodreads. So yeah, don't recommend. It wasn't a great start to the year, but things got better because I decided to listen to book talk, and I decided to read Six of Crows, which is ironically the shirt that I'm wearing today. But also, I love this cover. This cover is so pretty, and I love it so much. I love it so much. But that's not important. The important thing is that this book is honestly one of the best books I've ever read. Like, I think in my entire life. Like, it's like my new all-time favorite books ever, and I am in love with every single character. I love Kaz. I love Inej. I love Jesper. I love Wyland. I love Nina. I love Matthias. I just love every single character in this book. And no one can tell me otherwise. This book is amazing, and I love every single part of it. It is just a masterpiece, and I think about this book daily, like constantly. I still think about this book. Like, I love this book so much. So much. So yeah, I obviously gave it 5 stars on Goodreads, obviously, because this book is amazing. It is just amazing. It's just a great start off to the year. It's just a great follow-up book to this piece of trash. Anyway, but yeah, and then after that, of course, I had to read the sequel, Crooked Kingdom. Of course, obviously, I had to finish the series. I mean, obviously, I had to. So that's what I did. I read Six of Crows, and after I finished it, I immediately ordered Crooked Kingdom from Amazon. And because like, I need to read this now. So that's what I did. I read both books. So yeah. And these books are honestly bigger than the books I normally read. I normally read like, I don't know, 300-page books at the most. This book was like 400 pages and this was like 500 pages, which I usually don't touch books that are that big. But this year I decided to go out of my comfort zone. And you know what? I'm proud that I did. I'm happy that I did because I love these books so much. It's like one of my new all-time favorite series ever. I just love the romances. I love the fantasy elements. I just love everything about this so much. And I could go on for hours and hours on end how amazing these books are, but I won't. I won't bore you guys to death with that. No, we don't need to. Anyway, moving on to what I read next. So the main reason why, okay, story time. I, like, while reading Six of Crows, I found out there was like a whole Netflix series. I was like, oh, I want to watch that. But I realized the Netflix series not only has Six of Crows characters in it, but also is based off of like the Shadow and Bone series. So I was like, okay, I'll read that first and then I'll watch the show. So, hold on. Where'd the third book go? There it is. Okay, sorry. But next, I read the first Shadow and Bone book right here, which honestly the cover is also very pretty. But I didn't this might sound disappointing to some people, but I didn't particularly like this book that much. The only interesting part was the Darkling for me. I'm sorry, but that's just how it was for me. I mean, I had a feeling from the start I wouldn't like it because it seemed like every single other like fantasy book imaginable was like, oh, this girl is like different from everyone else. She's not like other girls. She has like magical powers to make her special from everyone else. So ooh, like that's the part I was like, oh gosh, no, it's gonna be one of those things, isn't it? So yeah, that's what it ended up being. I did not like Mal one bit. I hated him so much, and I still do hate him. He like, no, girly, you could do so much better. Like, really, no. Alina, no. Also, I don't like Alina. She's very boring. Not boring. Let me rephrase that. She was very annoying 10 at a time, for sure. She's, like, very much a pick-me girly. And I don't like that. Like, anyway. I think the only character I liked in the first book, like, was the Darkling. And granted, I tend to like villains. I'm a weird person who likes villains, even though I probably shouldn't like villains. I like the villain characters. I'm weird, okay? Just give me a break. I either like the villain or like the weird, like, side, potentially gay character. That's what I usually like in books. Not always the main character unless they give you a reason to like them. That's all I gotta say. So yeah, it was like Darkling, and what's her name? What's her name? Oh my god. Is it Genya or Genya? It's Genya. Oh my god, my brain's... But, she's like Alina's best friend, with, like a Grisha. I liked her in the book, and those are the only two characters I liked the entire book. That's the only reason I got through this book, because, I mean, beginning was interesting enough, and then once she got to the Little Palace, I was bored to death. So, yeah, not one of my favorites. I think I gave, 3 stars on Goodreads, and yeah. Yeah. But then I was like, well, I want to read the rest, just because... Yeah, I read the Archie's books in the series. I read Siege and Storm? Is it Siege and Storm? I think it's Siege and Storm. Siege and Storm, and then Ruin and Rising. And honestly, if I were to pick a favorite, it might be the last one or the first one. The second book, honestly, was a sludge. Whatever the heck, whatever words you want to use, I don't know. But it was such a pain to get through. And it's I think it's also the longest one out of the entire series, and it was such a painful process to get through, because the only thing that made it interesting in me in the first book was having the Darkling and all the tension with him, and yet he wasn't even in this book at all, really. He only showed very few parts towards the middle and the end, which I did not enjoy at all. The only reason I got to this book because of Nikolai. He was the only thing I enjoyed about this entire book with Nikolai. That's because he's the only character that I liked about that entire book. So it's the only way I could get through it. I was reading only for his character, and that was it. He's the only character I liked. And same thing with the last book. Like, the first half, he's there, and he's, like, you know, being good on level with Nikolai, and all of a sudden he turns into a freaking demon shadow creature, and then he's, like, gone for the rest of the book. I'm like, are you kidding me? My favorite character's just gone. Whatever, I digress. I wanted to like these books so badly. I wanted to like these books so badly, and yet I just could not get into them. They're just so many parts that just bored me to death, and I was honestly relieved when I finished all of them. So that's all I got. I'm sorry to people who are a big fan of Shadow Bone, but I'm just I maybe if I tried to read it again later when not like the main reason I was reading these books was just because I wanted to get to the series because I loved his Six of Crows so much. I was like, okay, I'll follow these books too potentially because I like the author. I'm not saying the writing was bad. The writing was honestly one of the best things, of course. Like the writing was good. The characters were okay. Some of them were okay. They were all like well fleshed out characters. I just didn't care for a lot of them. So just like most of this is just my personal opinion on these books. Maybe if I read them on my own free will, maybe if I like reread them at some point and give them a second chance, I might like them. But currently, I'm not a big fan of them. So yeah, they all like 3-star ratings. They're not my favorite books, but they're okay. That's what I think of 3-star ratings. They're like it means like it's an okay book. Like I was able to get through the book and like enjoy some parts, not the entire thing. So yeah. And then after that, I read. Hold on, it's like buried under here. Okay, so I have a whole pile of books over here that just is crowding like half my bed. Anyway, but next book I read was the first Hunger Games book. I got this book like forever ago for my birthday, and I finally read it. I finally read the whole series this year. So I read the first Hunger Games book, and obviously it was amazing. I mean, granted, this whole entire series is bound to go down to being a classic because this whole entire series is honestly amazing in a lot of ways, and I love it so much. The only critique that I have about like this, about like I think like the main three, like the main trilogy, is that like every single book starts off so slow. Like, you know what though? They're still really good books. I don't really care. Like these books are like this. The first book is still an amazing way to get yourself like get immersed in this world of Hunger Games and like experience what like words are not coming out of my mouth right now. Hold on, but like it's a great way to get you in like this world of Hunger Games. Like realize how this world mirrors ours in many ways, and like Susan Collins' point is she's trying to get across and everything, and yeah. So yeah, this honestly, this is such a better book to follow it up with Shadow Bone. Just yeah, good book. And then in between reading, because I started the second Hunger Games after that, but while I was reading it, I also read these two books over here. I read the 8th of the Toibahaku manga, and yeah, good as always. I mostly read this manga just because the anime did not cover a lot of the manga, and I wanted to know more about the anime. So I was like, I had a friend anime. I was like, I want to read the manga because I want to see what else happens. And yeah, I am way far ahead of the anime now because the manga is so different. So yeah, that's all I can really say about this book without going. I don't really want to go too much into detail because I don't feel like it. So yeah, it was a good book though. Good book. And then we have my next book that I read, which was The Princess and the Grilled Cheese Sandwich. I adored this book so much. It's just such an adorable love story between these two. I love the romance. It's such an adorable lesbian romance, and I love a good adorable lesbian romance. And it's like a graphic novel. It was such a quick read. I read it like within, I believe, like I read it like it took me like I believe like an hour to read it. So like yeah, but this book honestly is so adorable. It's so cute. I love the romance. It is just, it's so heartwarming. It made me just like feel so happy. Like in general a lot. Like I went crazy over so many like little moments in this book. Like I was like so giggity and everything, and yeah, I love this book. It was just such adorable in every single way, shape, or form. Highly, highly recommend. Please just check this out if you haven't. Anyway, and then after that, I finished second Hunger Games book, Catching Fire. So, we have that. And, honestly, I either this one or the first one is my favorite out of the main three. Either one of these two make my favorite out of the main three. Like, I'm not counting the newest books out, Balance Onward and Snakes. I consider that to be a whole other thing in and of itself. So, if I were to pick a favorite out of the whole series, maybe it would be one of these two, honestly. Because I love the first one so much. And I also love this one too so much. Like, this one, honestly, like, granted, a lot of it in the beginning did focus more on, like, the love triangle stuff between, like, Peeta and Gale and Katniss, which I mean, I liked I liked the romance between Katniss and Peeta. I loved it, honestly. That's not maybe the reason I was reading it for, honestly. I wanted to read more just, like, on, like, the world they were in and, like, things like that. So I did enjoy it, but once it got into, like, the whole, like, Hunger Games aspect and everything, and yeah. It was a really good book, and I love this book so much. It was so good. And then we move on to what I read while I was reading the third book. Let me clarify. While I was reading the third Hunger Games book, I read... okay. I read the entire Heartstopper series, so... Because I watched, like, the show on Netflix, like, when it first came out. I watched, like, the first season, and then I watched, like, the newest season that came out, when it came out, and then... I have read all the books too. Not all of them. I haven't read the fourth one and the fifth one, but I have read 1 through 3. So I have read the first one first. And honestly, the first one was so adorable and very similar to the shows, honestly. Yeah. And then I read the second one. And then we have the third one. Honestly, all these books were, all Heartstopper books are honestly adorable. And it made me so happy just reading through all of them. I will say though, like, since I kind of knew it was going to happen thanks to the show. So, like, I already knew what happened when I was reading it. But at the same time, not exactly, because the show is very different from the books. I did not even realize that. Like, the characters are not exactly the same. Like, the books only focus on Nick and Charlie, the majority of them. They don't focus on the other characters too much. And the show I feel like the show gives the other characters more development than the books did. But, like, the books still are a good thing. Like, the books were still amazing. I gave all them 5 stars. All these books are still really amazing, and I love all of them. I love them. And just, Nick and Charlie are just adorable together. I love them so much. And yeah. Like, all the relationships in these books are just honestly so adorable. And I love every single one of them. And yeah, that's all I can really say. And the show is, like, such an amazing show. And I love it so much. One of my favorite shows I've ever watched in my entire life, I feel like. So yeah. Anyway. Moving on from that, hold on, not yet. I had to read through a book for summer reading for school, and this book is terrible. Do not read it, please. It was called Caves of Steel, and this book, honestly, is terrible. It's like a sci-fi kind of book about, like, robots stealing people's jobs and stuff, which sounds the tiniest bit interesting, also like our modern world today. But then you get deeper into it, and it just is filled with boringness and misogyny, and it's terrible. And yeah, did I fold pages? Oh, I folded pages. So this is what I do. I hated this book so much that I folded pages in it, because I was like, this book deserves it. I hate it so much. So I folded pages, and most people don't really see this as like a thing people, like, hate about books. Some people do this, like, every book they've ever read. I just don't. I highlighted the book, which I consider to be something that's, like, a crime against the book. I consider it, like, vandalizing a book in my own sense. And some people highlight their books for fun and write little notes in them for, like, their own interpretation of the book, which I do not like to do at all. I only did this book because I hated this book so much, so I was like, I want to do it. But yeah, this book honestly was terrible, and I'm pretty sure the main character wanted to have sex with a robot. So great. Also, maybe reason why this book was also terrible just because it was written in 1950. I'm joking. The time period doesn't really matter too much. Just it was written in 1950s, I want to say, or at least published in 1950s. So I gave it that grain of salt when I was reading it, but at the same time, like, it just still wasn't good. It just wasn't good at all. Like, just no. Like, it was so boring and just, it was just a pain to get through. Please, if you think about reading this book, just don't. Just don't, please. Just don't. There's so many better books to read. No, or not this. So please, just don't read it. Just don't. Save yourself, please. Anyway, but then I finished Mockingjay. So yeah. You can see like 2 little sticky notes at the bottom because my friend wanted to see our reaction to the ending, so that's what those are there for. But yeah, I finished Mockingjay. I will say that is my least favorite on the Hunger Games series, but that doesn't mean that's good. It's still a really good book. It's just not my favorite. Like, I will say the parts without Peeta were a bit of a pain to get through. I got bored during a lot of parts until like the whole like hanging tree scene and like the whole with the hospital being loved and everything, is like that's where like I was like, okay, this book is finally going somewhere, because low-key the whole parts that you can do for District 13 kind of bored me to death a little bit, not gonna lie. I'm a person who gets very bored and nothing's happening in the book. That's the thing. If nothing's happening in the book, I get very bored very easily. So yeah. You know what? Honestly, all these books were honestly amazing in every single way. There's like, started off like very slow. Later on, they all got like so much crazily better, and like they're like Hunger Games has become one of my new favorite series for sure, and I love it so much. And then also, I have clearly read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I have tabbed up basically the entire book, so yeah. I started this thing with like the end, tabbing at the book with the end of Mockingjay, and I started really going crazy with tabbing books in The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes because I wanted to tab up my thoughts and like collect my thoughts before I saw the movie. So my whole reason why I started reading the series was I never read it, and I got it years ago for my birthday, and I was like, okay, there's a new movie coming out this year, I'll read all the books before the movie comes out. So that's what I did. I read all 4 books before the movie came out, and yeah. I will say that I love this book so much. When I first read it, I hated Lucy Gray for some reason, but after watching the movie and recollecting my thoughts, I love Lucy Gray. You know what? I do. I love Lucy Gray. I'm a Lucy Gray lover at heart now, and that will not change. At this point, like, these tabs are outdated because a lot of the tabs were me marking how annoyed I was by Lucy Gray, but you know what? That has changed now. I love her. She's amazing, and F's no. But yeah, this book is also just really amazing in a lot of ways. Like, it made me see a different side of like a character I never thought I would see before, and like you never would think that you would get another book about a book like this about snow and everything, but yet here it is. And honestly, this book, like, a lot of the quotes in this book and things like that have resonated with me in such a deeper level than I thought they would. And yeah, and the movie was also so amazing, and I loved it. All these books are amazing in every single way, and yeah. Next, I read Percy Jackson series. So we had the first book, Percy Jackson series, The Lightning Thief, right here, and it's amazing, obviously, and yeah. And then we have all my lovely little tabs, and yeah, that's what can I say. Honestly, this book was really good, and I enjoyed it, and I love this book so much, honestly. And it just was like, it's like a nice new like reflection to like this new world and everything. And I also kind of reignited my obsession with, I had an obsession with Greek mythology way back in 4th grade that was like kind of died down after 4th grade-ish, and now it is reigniting my obsession, and I'm dying to like learn more about Greek mythology now. So yeah, there's that. The first book, and then I moved on and read the second book, and yeah, Sea of Monsters. I read the third book, which is The Titan's Curse, and then Battle of the Labyrinth, and then the last book, The Last Olympian, I think. Yes, that's what it's called. So yeah, I loved all these books so much, and I'm dropping all of them. Okay. But I loved all these books so much. They were all so amazing, and I loved them dearly, and they were all such an amazing read and everything, and they're just all such good books, and I love them so much, and I love all the characters. I love Grover, I love Percy, I love Annabeth, I love Tyson. I love so many characters. The only characters I didn't like really were Rachel and I think just Rachel. No, I just can't remember the characters off the top of my head. But like, honestly, and I love Percy and Annabeth so much. I love Percy so much. One of my new favorite ships of all time. Like, yes, just yes. I love the series so much, and I cannot wait to read more. I just love it so much. I love everything about it, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just perfect every single way. No one can convince me otherwise. I'm sorry, just no one can. All these books are 5 stars for sure. Anyway, excuse me. Do you mind book? Everything's falling. It's like an avalanche. Anyway, and then we also have. I started the Heroes of Olympus series. I did not finish it because this is the only one I own of the books. I don't own the rest of them, so I only own The Lost Hero, which is this is a very old copy of this book. I stole it from my brother like way back in middle school, and I finally read it this year. So yeah, honestly, my friend that told me to read Percy Jackson was like, he's like, God tells with it this year the same way I do reading through all the books. She told me that this book wasn't really like enjoyable. Yet again, she was reading Percy Jackson mostly for Persephone, nothing else. I was reading it for like all the characters and like the whole world that they were in and everything like that, and all the Greek mythology like things in it. And yeah, and I really enjoyed this book, even though I didn't think I would at first. I really enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't like was the chapters with Piper's point of view, because I hate Piper so much. But Jason and Leo, I love them both, and yeah. This book is honestly really enjoyable and I really liked it. So yeah. The books I read after that, we have the next book I read, which was Divine Rivals, and this book broke me. It took my heart out and broke it into, like, ripped it apart. Like, nothing will ever crush my heart the same way this book did ever in my entire life. I am broken thanks to this book. And that's not even an exaggeration. This book utterly destroyed me in so many levels, in so many ways. And I never thought a read a romance would destroy me this much, but yet here we are, especially a straight romance. I'm not big on straight romances, but I saw this book and I was like, I need to read it, because like I've heard so many good things about it. And I read it, and oh my gosh, it is just such an amazing book. The writing in it is honestly the most beautiful writing I've ever read in my entire life. It is so beautiful. There's so many parts, but the writing almost made me cry because how beautiful it was. This book is just amazing, and it literally just destroys your heartstrings in the best possible way. And I cannot wait to read the sequel. I love it so much, and it is just an amazing book, and I love it. I kind of wish it was a movie, but if it was a movie, I'd be so scared if they get the tiniest detail wrong in a movie remake of this book, I would literally scream. So you know what? Never mind. I'm glad it's a book. Because honestly, this is one of my favorite books I've read ever. Honestly, I don't read romances. I've read like mostly gay romances. If I've read any, and it's one of my new favorite romances for sure. Like one of my new all-time favorite romance books for sure. Like I love this book so much, and yeah, I highly recommend that people read this book, please. It is just so good. It is just so good. So good. I love it so much. Next book that I read, which was... I took a back my tabbing books, as you can see. I did not tab this one because I didn't feel the need to. So yeah. But anyway, the next book is Night Books. It's the title of it. And this book is also a movie on Netflix. The book is so much better. Please just read the book. Do not watch the movie. The movie's okay, but like the book is 10 times better than the movie. So please, if you have any interest in this book, just read the book. Do not watch the movie. Or if you watch the movie and you liked it and you want it, and then if you watch the movie and you enjoy the movie, then just read the book as well, because the book is honestly a really good book and I love it so much. Like, it's like a nice, like, I got this book back in in middle school at a book fair, and I finally read it now, and honestly, I'm happy I did, because this book was such a nice, simple read after Divine Rival. Like, Divine Rivals destroy my heart in every single way, and there's like a nice way to ease back into reading and just chill out to a nice like little like children's story, I guess, in a way. And honestly, I really enjoyed it, and this book is honestly has like a nice like little fantasy world, and like it's supposed to have horror elements, but it's not really that scary. So yeah, it's like a nice like little like book. Honestly, it was just a nice little book that I enjoyed very, very much, and I really liked it a lot. And yeah, it's just like very simple to read. Obviously, it's like meant for children. I went to like middle school, and it's meant for ages 8 through 12, and I read it currently. So I had the mind of a 12-year-old, apparently. I just can't grow up. But yeah, moving on from that, I read No Longer Human. And I hated it. I'm sorry, but I hated this book so much. I thought I would like it. I really, truly thought I would like this book. But I was like solely mistaken on so many levels. This book was so boring and was like such a slog to get through, and I hate the way he talks about women in this book. I'm sorry. I really do. I don't care. I'm not giving it any grain of salt for time it's written in. No. The way he writes about women disgusts me. It utterly disgusts me in this book. There were so many moments where I wanted to just put the book down and just like throw across the room and be like, why am I reading this? What am I reading? What is wrong with this person? Anyway, regardless of that. The main reason I read this book is because of Bungo Stray Dogs, and honestly, I should not have continued reading after I got the one part that set me off initially. I should have just stopped right there. But I had to finish it. And yeah, I'm not happy that I did, but yeah, I just don't like it at all. Just, no. The only good thing about this was there's a few really good quotes here and there, but other than that, there are so many other books that I haven't read any other books about depression, but I can assure you there are better books about depression and about like all the heavy topics that this book covers than this. Like, if you want to read a book that's similar to this, just please, there's many different books that are better. I can assure you there are many better books out there than this one. I can assure you that much. Anyway, moving on. Last book I read, I literally finished this today, was 1984. And, again, I did not like it. The thing is, I want to try and read more classics, but it's not a real classic to start off with, I guess, considering I did not enjoy that much of it. The first chapter was boring, and I did not like the main character, considering all the things he says to the girl, and they kiss, and he didn't even know her name when they first kissed until a page later. So, yeah. And then the second chapter was literally so boring. Like, there's only three chapters in this entire book. The chapters are so long and did not need to be this long. This book, honestly, there's so many things in it that I feel like could have been cut, and this would make it so much shorter and so much easier to read through. I'm sorry, that's just the truth. And there's some parts that are just so boring. They drag on for so long. Like, literally, for a page describing the room that this guy's in. I do not need you to describe, like, for paragraphs on end, what this room looks like, okay? I do not need that. It's simple, just like, it's a bed, the walls are white, and things like that. That's all I need. That's all I really care about. I do not need a much description about what the room looks like around him. I'm sorry, I don't care. But, yeah. In the second chapter, literally one part where he gets the book and everything, read like a textbook, and I hated it so much. I don't mind if a book, like, needs to, like, world building and stuff like that on the worlds that you're in, because, like, that's fine. Obviously, any book that has a different world than our modern worlds needs world building, obviously, to, like, expand the world they created. Yes, I get that, because I myself want to be a writer, and I understand that. But when you don't explain it in an interesting way, it gets boring, because I read, like, a history textbook. And I'm sorry, that's boring as hell. Because who wants to read that? No one. No one. So yeah. The only part that was interesting was the third chapter. it got, like, after he got arrested and everything by, like, the police or whatever you want, the thought police, I guess what they're called. Yeah, the thought police. That part was the only interesting part in this entire book. So yeah. Do not recommend. Do not recommend. At all. Just no. Again, also people like, this book is amazing because, like, it has many parallels to our real world in our modern day world, but honestly, it doesn't really have that many parallels to our real world. At least not many that I've noticed. The whole part about the book, I mostly skimmed through it, so if any of it really reflects our world, I just didn't really notice it because I kind of didn't care enough to. I got so bored and I skimmed through the majority of it, so yeah. There's that. But yeah, those are all the books I read this year. All 27 of them, and sorry, I bumped into one of my books. But, yeah. I will say I have some least favorites, obviously, and I have some favorites, obviously. And, yeah. Honestly, I'm happy I read all these books, and I hope to, like, read more books in the future. I hope to be more of an avid reader in the future, because my goal is to become an author in the future. So if I want to do that, obviously, I'm gonna have to read books. I mean, not obviously, but, like, in a sense, it's better to read books. It's like, I understand there's, like, different stories you can tell, what kind of stories people can tell, and, like, take inspiration from stories and, like, things like that. Like, there are all kinds of different ways to write a story, and no story is the same. That's what I love about reading and writing, that no story is the same. You can tell a story, like, 1,000 people can tell the same, 1,000 people can tell one story, but they're never gonna be the same. It's like a game of telephone. It gets changed over and over and over again to be something new and amazing every single time. And yeah, that's the art of storytelling, the art of reading and writing, and I just love it so much. I always have and always will, clearly. And yeah, I cannot wait to read more books in the future, and yeah, that's all I got. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed my little, I guess, rant, or whatever you want to call it. Not rant about a few of these books, and then, like, happy little ramble, I guess, per se, about some of these books. Just, you know, I hope you all enjoyed this, and yeah, I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye now, ladies and gentlemen and non-binary folks. See y'all later.